folks, this is Jamila Siddiqui coming to you from the Carleton Career Center to talk about Handshake and give you a quick overview of the platform. Handshake is our platform for sharing opportunities with employers and graduate schools with you, and those may be internships, jobs, externships, and events. So, after you go through a very quick registration process where you share your general current career interests with Handshake, you'll come to a homepage that looks like this. And this homepage is a great way to get custom recommendations from Handshake based on your activity in the platform. You'll see jobs recommended for you, um, opportunities that might connect to your major, and then employers that you might be interested in based on both your activity in the platform and the interests you have shared. You'll also see things that the Career Center, the Carleton Career Center, is hosting, and so on and so forth. So it's a very customized homepage that will hopefully make it quick and easy for you to connect with career opportunities that actually are interesting to you and relevant to your current goals. So the best way to start teaching Handshake what those interests are is to come up here on the far upper right corner. Click on your avatar, which you may or may not have a profile picture just yet. That's okay. It'll be some kind of a circle. You can fill out your profile, which includes some history about yourself, your goals, your education, your work and volunteer experience. This is similar to what you might see on a LinkedIn profile page. And you can do this very, very quickly in Handshake by actually uploading your resume and having it auto-populate from your resume if you already have a resume together. Otherwise, you can add it in manually here. Even more important than filling out your profile is entering your career interests. So again, I went to my avatar and then I went to my career interests. Some of this you're going to fill out when you first register for a Handshake, but after that, you can come in and adjust your interests as they change. So, for example, as you switch from looking for an internship to a full-time position, you can let Handshake know so that it brings you the most relevant opportunities. Similarly, letting Handshake know, for example, that you're interested in graduate school can be good for getting relevant communications, what options you're considering for after graduation, job roles that you might be interested in. And this is not exactly the most exhaustive list, so just a heads up, you might have to type in maybe one word and see what comes up. So for example, I typed in advocacy and nothing came up, so I might have to type in advocate and then see what are some of my options. So this one field in particular is a little bit of a trial and error field. But the rest are pretty easy check boxes and open-ended text boxes. This is also a fantastic way to communicate with the Carleton Career Center about what kinds of opportunities you want us to send you into your email inbox. You can sign up for a career community if you're exploring a cluster of industries, for example. And maybe even most important for how you interact with this page, this list of industries as well as list of job functions are what we use to curate targeted communications to you that are relevant to the interests you have checked here. So for example, as I receive a opportunity connected to animal and wildlife environmental services, I go into Handshake and I pull out those students who have these boxes checked and I send that opportunity to them through email, and only those students. We don't want to bombard you with emails that are not relevant to your interests. So this is the best way to control what we do and don't send to you. When you're done, hit Save My Career Interests, and you did probably the most important thing you could do in Handshake to get started. So once you've customized all of your interests and started letting Handshake know what you're wanting to do, you can teach it in a couple other ways. So you can also search for jobs, and as you save jobs, for example, I'm going to save this first job that just happened to come up by hitting this bookmark right here. That is also teaching Handshake what you are interested in. This job search page can be a bit confusing and hard to navigate, so I want to pause here real quick and give you a quick overview. On the left-hand side, you'll see a list of the opportunities that it's bringing up for you. On the right hand side over here, you will see the details of the role, including deadlines, who the company is, the description. You can expand it to read more. Handshake will also take a look at your profile and see if you are a quick match or not for this opportunity. Even if it doesn't have all check marks, know that you are still allowed to apply. That's perfectly fine. The other thing I really like about this is it connects you to information about the organization. So this makes your company research easy. You can follow that organization right here with that button, which is also another way to teach Handshake about your interests. You can read more about what they do. You can check out other folks who are connected to this organization and read reviews about them. And then you also at the bottom get similar job opportunities. So if you find a job that you really like or an internship that you really like, take a look at the very bottom of that page and see if Handshake has found some similar opportunities that might also be of interest to you. So this page came up with everything. So you can see here on the upper left hand corner of our results box that there are almost 10,000 jobs. So how do you filter this down? You do have some quick filters at the top, like location, full-time job, internship, part-time, and on campus. But I recommend you click on all filters because there's a lot more opportunities to narrow this down. So let's say I'm looking for an internship. I'll click on internship. Let's say I really only want paid roles. I'll click on that. Job roles. Let's say I am interested in, we'll keep with advocacy. So politicians, legislators, and public policy advocates, let's say that's close to what I'm into. Industries, it will give you some suggested industries. I can put in a specific employer, major, employer preferences if I want to make sure it matches me. If you're an international student, checking out these work authorization boxes can be helpful. And then the label by your school can also be helpful. We have at Carleton a Carl Connection label. And Carl Connection means that there is a special relationship with either an alumnus or a parent of a current Carleton student or a friend of the college who has brought this opportunity to us in particular because they think it's a great fit for Carleton students. So this is what we would call a warm lead, meaning that you already have a little bit of a foot in the door. Maybe you have about a toe in the door, which is great. So that puts you in a bit of an advantage for getting that opportunity. So we can see that as I added Carl Connection, there currently aren't any that meet all of these preferences as well as is a Carl Connection opportunity. So I'm going to take that off and then I'm just going to hit show results and it's down to 3. So this is much more manageable. A great way to work the jobs tab and then to save the ones that are interesting to you. You can also do the same thing with events. This page is a little glitchy right now, but I'm able to show you this on the employer side. So there are lots of events that both employers and graduate schools will host to help you get acquainted with who they are and what opportunities they have, and then in some cases, how you can be a successful applicant. So for example, Women Who Lead Consulting Recruiting 101 from Ernst & Young. If I click on that, it will give you more information about the event. And to register, you just hit this registration button. And I have some privacy settings right now, so I have to update that in order to register, and there we go. And to unregister, I just simply click this button again, and it reverts back. So it's basically a toggle. The last way you can teach Handshake about your interests is to follow employers that interest you. You can see at the top some employers that I'm currently following, and I can discover more employers and just hit this following button, and there I go. I'm following them, which means I'm going to potentially, depending on my notification settings, get some notifications about opportunities that they post in the future. And also get recommendations from Handshake that connect to that particular employer or type of employer. Similar to the jobs search, you have some filters. This time it's on the left-hand side, and you can filter by location, for example, keyword, size, industry. Know that these four checkboxes aren't the only ones you can have. If you click on the search box, more will pop up, and then you can just start typing to see if something comes up. You can also check to see if there's a Carl connection label on an employer. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page. And there is one more really important page to keep in mind. It is a sort of home page. It's actually our Career Center page, and you can either get to it by clicking on Career Center just to the left of the avatar, or Carleton College Career Center just under the header banner. And when you click on this comes to a page where, first and foremost, on this first button, you can schedule appointments with Carleton Career Coaches. So you would click on Schedule a New Appointment, Current Student, pick what you're coming in for. You'll see a schedule, so on and so forth. And you can book right there. Also on this Career Center page is a new feature for Handshake called Curated Employers. And these are employers that are suggested for you by your Career Center. So myself as well as my colleagues. And what we have done is we have looked into, for example, in Invest in Diversity, we have looked into these companies' practices connected to recruiting and looked at some reviews and looked at some indexes, which are basically reviews that other people have done to get a sense of, does this company suggest that they have a deeper investment in diversity. And if that is something that is really meaningful for you in your search, clicking on this category and taking a look at what we've curated for you might be a helpful start for making what seems like an overwhelming amount of organizations to connect with and an overwhelming amount of opportunities a little bit more narrow. And as you can see, you can just hit the follow button right here, or you can even click on the employer and learn a little bit more about them, including contact information. This one happens to have some Q&A, which is fantastic. It'll connect you with students who have worked there, and you can even message them right in the Handshake app. So I'm going to go back a little bit more. So there are several different kinds of curations. We've got Great for Internships, Popular with Alumni, Hires International Students, Invest in Diversity, Close to Campus, meaning it's in Northfield, Hires from our school, and Hidden Gems. So Hidden Gems being some smaller and medium size organizations that can sometimes be overlooked, but they have some good opportunities for you. So one more thing that I want to cover before we wrap up is, how do you take control over the communication that you get from Handshake? In addition to making sure that you keep your My Career Interest page relevant to you, you can also adjust your notification settings. And it's actually not under notifications, it's under settings. And then notification preferences. And Handshake gives you quite a bit of control over what kinds of content you receive. This is a very long list of both ways that you can be contacted, whether it's through email, notification within the app, or a push notification on the mobile app, and the type of information. So feel free to come on in, adjust your settings here. You can take check marks on and off, and really take control over these communications. Okay, so that wraps up our Handshake overview. If you have more questions or just want to have a sort of Handshake expert be sitting next to you as you walk through this, come on into the Career Center. We have some fantastic student career assistants, or SCAs as we like to call them, who are trained on Handshake and who are your peers and can give you some of their insider tips on how they navigate this and how they use this. Thanks so much, and good luck as you dive into Handshake.